Right now, we are ready to derive the equation of any quadratic function given its graph. So if graphs representing quadratic function y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c is given, the equation representing the graph can be determined given any of the following conditions. So first, 3 points on the parabola, not considering the x-intercept nor the vertex. So another one could be a vertex and a point of the parabola. Next is the x-intercepts and the point on the parabola if the coordinates of the vertex are not integral. So we have these three conditions wherein any of the following given from the parabola may do, but we'll just be focusing on these two given. So, given a vertex and a point on the parabola, we'll try to solve or identify the equation of the quadratic function. At the same time, we could also use the x-intercept and any point on the parabola, considering if the vertex is not integral. So, ibig sabihin, hindi siya whole number, ah, possibility nun is hindi siya sakto dun sa mga intersection ng mga grids natin sa Cartesian plane. So, gagamitin natin si letter C. Especially kapag yung x-intercepts natin ay visible. So, as we start, let's try to have the steps in deriving the quadratic function given its graph wherein the vertex is integral. So, katulad nito, makikita mo siya dun sa mga intersection ng grids natin, whole number yung vertex niya. So, madali siyang i-identify. And we also try to consider another point on the graph. So, the first step is to identify the vertex HK from the graph. So, in this case, if it is opening upward, look for the lowest point. If it is opening downward, look for the highest point. That's where you can see the vertex. Yan, identify lang natin yung dalawang yon. Second is to substitute the vertex hk to the standard form of the quadratic function y is equal to a times the quantity x minus h squared plus k. Third, identify one point xy from the graph and substitute it as x and y value from the standard form. Fourth is solve for the value of a and substitute it to the given standard form of the quadratic function. And lastly, you have to transform that quadratic function into general form y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. So para mas maintindihan natin tong mga steps na meron tayo in identify the equation of the quadratic functions graph, let's try to have some examples. Okay, example number 1. So the instruction says, determine the quadratic function y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c represented by the given graph. So, ang final answer natin dito is naka-general form na. At the same time, I already have here the shortened version of the 5 steps that we'll be going to do. At the same time, meron din tayo ditong graph na given natin. Now, first step is for us to identify the vertex HK. So all we need to do is to identify the highest point since our parabola is opening downward. So andito siya sa point na yan. So we'll try to name that vertex as negative 1, 0 or the point negative 1, 0. So lagay lang natin siya dito sa ating table on the steps. So let's write the vertex HK as negative 1, 0. Next is for us to substitute this hk on the standard form y is equal to a times the quantity x minus h squared plus k. So, parang ganito yung format. Ilalagay lang natin yung h tsaka yung k dun sa loob ng ating standard form. So, all we need to do is to write negative 1 here and dito naman 0. So, in this case, kung mapapansin nyo, negative minus negative 1. So we can replace this minus sign as plus kasi negative times negative, 'di ba? Para maging positive 'yan. So next step is for us to substitute a point on the parabola. So for me, let's try to identify one point on the parabola. So, let's have this 1, negative 4. So, ito yung point na yan. So, any point may do. Basta integral yung value na makukuha nyo para madali siyang substitute. So, I have here point 1, negative 4. So, all we need to do is to substitute this uh, xy value. So, lagay ko muna siya dito, 1, -4. This is a value of x and this is the y on the parabola. So, substitute natin siya. So, tinanggal ko na dito yung y and x. So, nandito yung y kanina, di ba? Tapos nandito yung x. So, papalitan natin si y ngayon ng -4. That is a point on the parabola. Then, 1 naman kay x. So, yan yung sinubstitute natin. And we'll try to use that given form of equation for us to solve for the value of a. So, kapag umabot ka na dyan sa part na yan, tuloy mo lang yung form niya. So, ito, kinopya ko lang siya. -4 is equal to a times the quantity 1 plus 1 quantity squared. So, yan. So, simplify lang natin dito for us to solve for the value of a. So, ganito yung gagawin natin. First, copy -4, then a times, ito, 1 plus 1, we can simplify it and make it equal to 2. Then, copy square. Then, simplify natin si, yan, copy lang natin, -4. Simplify natin si 2 squared, that will be equal to 4, making our equation be equal to -4 is equal to 4a. Yan, in this case, I think masosolve na natin yung value ni a. We use division, property of equality. We divide 4 for both sides. Yan, para matira na lang dito, kay a is yung a na lang. Divide 4 divided by 4 will be 1. So, then -4 divided by 4 is -1. So, yan, ayusin lang natin, reflexive property of equality. A will be equal to -1. So, yan. Pwede natin pagbaligtarin yan. So, in this case, natapos na natin. Sabi, solve for a or solve for the value of a. Ayan na, a is equal to -1. Ano yung susunod na step? So, ilalagay na natin siya dun sa ating, yan, dito sa una nating nagawa, yung standard form. Kasi ang kulang lang dito, aside from, ayun, meron na tayong vertex. Ang kulang na lang dyan is yung a value natin. And in this case, this is -1. So, ilagay lang natin siya dito. A is equal to -1. Ayan na. Now, all we need to do is to transform this into general form. Y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. So, ganito yung gagawin natin. Una, copy. Y is equal to -1. Isolve muna natin tong x plus 1 quantity squared. So, another form of x plus 1 quantity squared is multiplying x plus 1 to itself. So, x plus 1 times x plus 1. Then, you can do FOIL. Y is equal to -1. So, yan muna yung simplify mo yung nasa loob. So, x times x is x squared. X times +1 is plus 1x or plus x. 1 times x is plus x as well. Then 1 times 1 is +1. So, plus 1 tayo dito. Next is for us to furtherly simplify this one by adding similar terms. So, copy mo lang y is equal to -1 times x squared. Add natin tong similar terms, x plus x, that will become 2x, then plus 1. So, para maging general form na siya, distribute na lang natin si a. So, times natin siya sa lahat or multiply natin siya sa lahat. -1 times x squared, so magiging -x squared. Then, -1 times 2x, so magiging minus 2x. -1 times 1 will become -1. So, this will be our standard for our general form. So, the answer will be y is equal to -x squared minus 2x minus 1. Okay, let's have example number 2. So, determine the quadratic function y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c represented by this given graph. So, same instruction. So, first step is for us to identify the vertex hk. In this case, our parabola is opening upward. Therefore, we can identify the vertex by having the lowest point of the parabola. So, ito yun. And that point will be 1, +2. So, lagay lang natin siya dito. HK is 1, +2. Now, in this case, yan, tapos na tayo dyan sa step na yan. Let's proceed to the second step wherein we try to write the standard form by substituting the values of h and k. So, yan, palitan lang natin yung h natin ng 1 and then yung k natin ng 2. So, yan, ganyan lang kasimple. Ilagay lang natin sila doon, 1 and 2 as the value of the vertex. Next is for us to identify any point on the parabola that can be used for us to solve for the value of a. So in this case, I think ito pipiliin ko. Yan, yung point na yan. So that point, xy will be 0, 4. So, dito na tayo. Then, lagay lang natin dito. Ang kinuha kong point will be 0, 4. So, 0 and 4. Then next, all we need to do is to try to write once again the standard form, but in this case, we'll try to write that values of x and y. So kanina nandito yung y, andito yung x. So papalitan natin yung y natin ngayon ng kinuha natin dun sa point na 4, and then yung x naman natin dito is yung 0. And we'll try to use this given equation for us to solve for the value of a. So, gagamitin natin siya dito sa baba. So, rewrite lang natin siya ulit. Ito na siya. So, 4 is equal to a times the quantity 0 minus 1 squared plus 2. So, rewrite natin si 4. Simplify natin. 0 minus 1. That will be equal to negative 1 quantity squared plus 2. Then, simplify ulit natin. 4 is equal to, pwede nating square si negative 1. Magiging positive 1 na siya. Plus 2. Then, 4 is equal to, a times 1 will be equal to a plus 2. So, in this case, rewrite lang ulit natin siya. A is equal to, 4 is equal to a plus 2. Then, we can subtract 2 for both sides. Yan. So, this one will become positive 2 is equal to a. Reflexive property of equality, we can say a is equal to positive 2. Yan, so positive siya. Siyempre, it's opening upward. Now, we'll try to use this value of a and once again write the standard form, but in this time, papalitan na natin ngayon yung a natin. Lagay na natin dito yung 2, which is the value of a na nasolve natin. So, ayusin na natin sulat. Yan, 2. Then, in this case, all we need to do is to transform this into standard form by first simplifying yung binomial square na x minus 1 quantity squared. So, ganito muna. Y is equal to, rewrite mo muna. Write mo ulit yung 2. Then, rewrite natin to as x minus 1 times x minus 1. So, we can do FOIL plus 2. So, y is equal to, FOIL natin, 2 times x will be x squared. X times negative 1 will be negative x. Negative 1 times x is negative x. Negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1 or plus 1. Then, copy mo lang dito si 2. Then, add natin yung similar terms. So, copy lang muna natin y is equal to 2 times x squared. Yan, add natin to. Negative x minus x, that will be negative 2x plus 1. Then, plus 2 tayo dito. So, tuloy natin. So, now we are ready to distribute this 2 on the trinomial inside the parentheses. 2 times x squared is 2x squared. 2 times negative 2x is negative 4x. And 2 times 1 is plus 2 or positive 2. Then, don't forget na meron tayong plus 2 pa nandito. Ito yun, no? Yan, huwag mong kalimutan, may plus 2 ka pa. Simplify mo by adding that 2 plus 2. So, we'll have now 2x squared, y is equal to 2x squared, minus 4x plus 4. Yan. Kaya siya naging 4, 2 plus 2. So, this is now our general form. Y is equal to 2x squared minus 4x plus 4. So, yan.